What's going on, everybody? This is John J Gaming on the mic here, coming at you with an exciting update for one of the only video games on the market that is looking to tackle high school football in its entirety. Yes, I am talking about the one and only varsity football. And if you guys have been paying attention to their Discord as well as their Twitter, they have just released their development update here for October 2022. And I am going to go ahead and run down, okay, what's in this update here for the month of October, and what are my personal thoughts and feelings of this October development update directly from the folks that are currently working on varsity football. So gonna want to strap in, buckle up, make sure you hit that like button, hit subscribe if you want to be brand new, and we will go ahead and jump right into it here. We start with the first point of this October development update. They are starting to put in some serious work into really the meat and bones of the Dynasty mode, which for those of you that are watching this video, I'm sure that's a big thing that many of you care about, having a deep Dynasty mode, and it certainly looks like we are going to get that. You know, just reading through the first points of this Dynasty mode, having the ability to start a new Dynasty, create our coach, navigate to a map of the United States, so it's not going to be where you're going to be set at a certain location. We can go anywhere in the United States, from Hawaii all the way out to Maine, coast to coast, and we can choose where we start our high school football journey. So from a content creator standpoint, I'm really excited about that. It really provides a very dynamic story, really helps with that creativity, as you guys also know. Really a perfect segue into the EA college football if you wanted to do a road to glory. If it turns out that EA college football does not have a road to glory, we can just do our own with varsity football here, and we can have a full high school mode starting out in our freshman year. And it looks like they're also working on the really making sure everything connects. They're also working on connecting various functions across the game, and it begins to tackle the full game loop of the Dynasty mode. So for what they are really trying to make this a deep and immersive Dynasty, and I really respect that. As long as the Dynasty mode is really good, I think it's going to really help with the replayability of this football game, regardless of what that gameplay ends up being. Now, speaking of that gameplay, they have started the process of 11 on 11 gameplay. They are working on the offensive side of the football. More notably, they have already added linemen into the game, able to have the score bug to track points, downs, all that good stuff. You know, very basic things, those kind of stuff that you expect in a football game, really any sports game. They do want to have a gameplay prototype for a full experience of marching down the field to score a touchdown, and it's a giant leap forward for this small dev team. Remember, this is going to be their first iteration of varsity football, so I don't want to set the standard too high. I'm sure they are going to work very hard, make sure that can get gameplay as good as it's going to get. So we'll see what ends up happening, how the gameplay looks. You know, gameplay doesn't have to be perfect. You know, no game is perfect if you really think about it. Every game's going to have its flaws. Every game's going to have, you know, its cheese moments, right? But can it have some foundational pieces that, you know, it can work with? Say, okay, I really like what they did there. Let's build off of that. And if they can accomplish that here from a gameplay aspect, I think that's certainly a victory for this development studio. Now, the other major item that they really worked on and assessed is three-dimensional assets. And not only for the sidelines, but also for the stadium. And I thought this was really interesting. So for the sidelines, they want to make sure it's kind of full of life. If you guys have watched my channel, you know, NCAA 06, you know, the guys on the bench aren't as rendered as maybe the guys are on the field. So hopefully that's something that is addressed. But really some small details that we'll see on the sideline, you know, seeing some things like heaters, some fans, ice chests, stationary bikes, and more is what they're saying. Those little things. And I'm hoping that's dynamic based on how hot or how cold it is at the football game. So if it's going to be a really cold game out in the Midwest or in the Northeast, I want to be able to have, you know, more heaters so that my guys are able to stay warm. Coincidentally, if I'm down in SEC country, you know, if it's an 89-degree day, I want to see more heating fans so that my guys can try to stay cool and have more hydration methods for my guys so that they're not cramping as much. I hope that becomes an option, and hopefully that's something that they do end up working on. Now, the other 3D assets that they are also working on as well is the stadium piece. They have created additional three-dimensional assets for their stadiums. That does include new press boxes, concession stands. You know, fans gotta go get some food somehow while enjoying some high school football on a Friday night. And we also are going to see some box offices where tickets are being sold. Again, those small details that, you know, don't seem that big of a deal in terms of whether a game is going to make or break, whether it's going to be from bad to average, but it definitely separates the difference between a good football game and a great football game, in my personal opinion. And it also goes into what should be the strength. Now, remember, these guys did previously work on Maximum Football before it did end up getting transferred over to Modus Games. They really want to specialize in a sandbox concept, and we could very well get that in terms of a stadium asset, being able to customize our stadiums depending on how big or how small the high school is. I think that's really good, and I really think these guys are on the right direction. This game is not expected to be released this year by any means. We might be able to see something next year, whether it be the actual game itself or a beta, but no rush. They're taking their time. I would rather them take them time and put together a very good game that we can all sit back and enjoy, among with many of the other indie games that are going to be slated to come out, such as, you know, that Maximum Football that I was talking about. Axis Games has some pretty good stuff with Axis Football as well. Should be a great year for football video games. I think varsity football is going to be right in the mix of that. I think this is certainly a step in the right direction, but you know, I laid all this information out for you guys, but here's the million-dollar question. What do you guys think? How do you feel about this month's developmental update? Is there some things in particular that you would like to see in the first iteration of varsity football? Make sure you go ahead, leave that down in the comment section for me. You know, love to chat with you guys about the state of varsity football as well as other indie football games that are on the market. If you enjoyed my analysis of the October development update, I would truly appreciate it if you go ahead and smack that like button for me, as well as that will benefit in terms of getting this out to more people through the YouTube algorithm. And if you like these analysis of indie football games on top of, you know, the original football series that we have on the channel, I don't just spend my time talking about football games. I also have my own football content, such as Realignment Dynasty on NCAA 14, as well as the FCS Dynasty on NCAA 06. So if that's something that interests you as well, you know, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me and pull up in some of these other videos that I have across the channel. But with that, this is John Shit Game on the mic, signing off, but I'm hoping you're all out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.